Welcome to this hiking in history video series, walking across the entirety of Hadrian's Wall. This is part 5 and day 5 of my journey, hiking from the priory at Lanercost all the way to the city of Carlisle. As I was getting closer to Carlisle and eventually the coast, Hadrian's Wall had begun to disappear. But even if there was less Roman history to see along this part, the medieval priory at Lanercost was certainly one of the highlights of the entire trip, and along the beautiful countryside of this section there were still some very pretty villages and churches to see along the way. So join me on this more gentle walk and journey on the final couple of parts of Hadrian's Wall as the countryside gently starts to flatten as I make my way steadily but surely to the coast and to the end. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hiking in History. Part 5. Part 5, day 5 of the Hadrian's Wall trail. Hadrian's Wall high, walking all the way from, all across Hadrian's Wall. But first, as I left off yesterday in a place called Lanercost, I am back, Lanercost, and you can see I did promise a very cool priory, and we're going to be going there first before we get to the wall. But yes, as I was saying, walking the whole of Hadrian's Wall from Wallsend in Newcastle all the way to Bowness on Solway, which is past Carlisle. Today, day 5, so I am heading from Lanercost, this place, to Carlisle. I actually end in an actual city today, second to last day. So yeah, with good weather. It's been raining earlier this morning, but now it is completely cleared as I was walking back to Lanercost. Truly beautiful. But let's, without further ado, because I'm not even on the Hadrian's Wall trail at the moment, but this is kind of a little detour to see Lanercost Priory. Look at this place, it's absolutely huge. I don't even fully understand what a priory is. It obviously must be something to do with like monks. Just come away from it here because there's an old information board. It was founded in 1169, so it's like ridiculously old. But yeah, I was kind of right. It was a home of a community of the Augustinian canons, which were a group of priests, so monks, priests type thing. Yeah, dissolved in 1537 by the Reformation, so that's good old Henry VIII, isn't it, when he wanted to get his end away. All these kind of religious communities were dissolved and abandoned, but it has received, because it was abandoned for a time, but it's received pretty extensive restorations on the front bit, because the back bit here, as you can see, are ruins. Hopefully you can actually see okay, because I'm on the wrong side of it really. Can't get that good pictures of it because the sun is blaring into the camera, but it's absolutely stunning. Well, let's see if we can just walk around it. Tons of graves here in the churchyard. They won't be from that long ago though, because I think gravestones like this only became fashionable in like the 1700s really, so the oldest gravestones you're ever going to find in a cemetery in England like this are probably at the very earliest, like the late 1600s, but mainly 1700s I think really, when they started to come in fashion, and even then they were rare, so most of them you usually find are 1800s. Like this one, 1909, so they're not as old as you think. Here we go, you get a good view of it here. All these ruins. It was a huge building. There's more even here, extended out. I think this bit is actually part, because you can, I think, come on a visit here and you go inside all the buildings and stuff. I'm pretty sure that's like a paid thing. Even if it's free, to be honest, I haven't got time to do it. But this is really cool. It's not far off the wall. It's about half a mile from Hadrian's Wall is this. Definitely have to come back here one day. Yeah, truly gorgeous building, especially with the sun on it like this now. And there's like a tea room, restaurants, all sorts of stuff around here. You see these priories, I'm pretty sure they used to be very self-sufficient, didn't they? They were sort of, they'd make all their own food, honey and all that kind of stuff. Monks used to do that. There's still a few of them around today in the UK, you can find them. They're actually still, people worshipping them, and there's still monks there and all that. But yeah, this is definitely a place I recommend coming. I'd come back and look through it, or go on the tour or whatever it is that they offer here. I don't know how much it is, but I imagine it must be paid. The graveyard goes even further back. Even today there's more modern graves here as well, so still used as a cemetery. I mean, this would be an amazing place to be buried. See why people would want to be. Truly, probably one of the most beautiful places of worship I've seen. If you can count it as a church, I don't know if a priory really still counts as a church, but the ruins are just so elegant, so picturesque. Okay, so it says the church is free and it's open. You can go into the actual priory proper and see all the ruins and stuff, and that's, I think it's like £9 English heritage again. But let's check. That's the frontage, and just like that we're off, because I've spent too much time. I was going to say wasted time, but I've not wasted time because that was really cool. But yeah, I've spent too much time there. I really need to be doing the walk. I've not even started today's part of Hadrian's Wall, so Lanercost Priory, definitely worth visiting. I need to come back because there's so much stuff to see there. It's really cool. That place has some amazing history though. Just reading a few of the information boards inside, off the top of my head. So King Edward I stayed there for quite a prolonged period, like a whole winter. And if you don't know who King Edward I is, if you've seen Braveheart, he is the villain in Braveheart, the king that's crushing the Scots, or attempting to crush the Scots during the border wars. Yeah, he stayed there for a whole winter in the 1300s, near his death actually. It says after the winter he left there, went to Carlisle, and then for a little bit, and then after Carlisle he died pretty shortly afterwards, so he seemed like he was not in good health during that time. But whilst he was staying there as well, one of some other sort of quite high, I've forgotten the names already, but quite a lordy person captured Robert the Bruce's brother and two others that were, you know, kind of nobility and knights and stuff like that, and sent their heads, I don't think it was sent Robert the Bruce's brother, but the other two, chopped off their heads and sent them to King Edward I there at that priory, and then Edward I gave the order to execute all the others that they'd captured, so I'm pretty sure that must mean Robert the Bruce's brother as well. Yes, and even Robert the Bruce had stayed there, and when you just hear names like that, you're like, wow, they've like literally stayed in this place, visited this place. That's when, yeah, the history just, it's kind of just incredible then. And again, if you don't know Robert the Bruce, he's also in Braveheart. He's the one who betrays William Wallace in the film, but at the end he's kind of like a good guy, he fights on. That's the film version, which is, I mean, anyone knows that Braveheart isn't super accurate. It's a very Hollywood film. It broadly gets things right, but the whole Robert the Bruce betraying William Wallace is like very half true. He didn't betray him on the battlefield like that, he wasn't trying to kill him or anything, but he did for a time not to, well, he didn't turn up for one of the battles, the famous battles, which he was supposed to. So you could argue that he betrayed William Wallace there. I think the fact is that Robert the Bruce was pretty, very high nobility, and he was, make it sound cheesy, but he was playing the Game of Thrones, wasn't he, really? He was tactical, and at that point it didn't seem worth it to him, I guess, to make his move, really, make his play, but he later did and became King of Scotland. If you've seen Outlaw King as well, that's a good Robert the Bruce film with Chris Pine playing Big Rob very well, I think. And that is it's almost like a sequel to Braveheart. You could watch them back to back. This is going into film reviews now. But Outlaw King, yeah, it feels like, again, they have stuff that's inaccurate in it, but all films do. But Outlaw King feels certainly more like a more realistic, more accurate representation of that part of history, which is definitely worth watching. And yeah, that priory down there was a part of that history, which is incredible. Okay, I am back, finally back on the Hadrian's Wall path. Why can I never get these open? There we go. But yes, I'm finally back on the path where the wall was. I'm only like 2 hours late, but it's fine. I just got to reach Carlisle to get it today, so I'm not so bothered about getting in if it's dark, because it's going to get really residential, and yeah, that's fine. I'm not walking in the countryside in the middle of the night. There's probably going to be not very few parts of the wall left along the way now, because we're heading straight for Carlisle, so it's going to get more residential and more built up. I think that is still the ditch, the Roman ditch that was built in front of the wall, of Hadrian's Wall. I think we're still seeing that. Oh, very muddy here. The weather keeps changing. It goes sunny, very windy, and then we keep getting the odd rain spell. But beautiful countryside. But yes, doubtful we're going to get much wall on this, well, from now to the end. But we did get an amazing priory, so that I am happy about. And the next stop along the way is Walton, 1.5 miles away, so not that far. But like I have also said, seems like there's probably not much wall. If you are here simply for wall content, it's videos part 3 and 4 that are the best that show all the kind of wall that's remaining. I imagine there'll still be little bits here and there along this one as well, because we're doing the whole trek, which is some like 87 miles or something, I think my guidebook said, the actual full Hadrian's Wall path, and it's probably more than that. It seems that I've had to detour off to different places where I'm sleeping. I've been off the path, because there are places along the way pretty close to the wall that, you know, like hotels and Airbnbs, hostels, whatever you want to, all different types. However, some of them are pretty damn expensive because, well, that's the only option, so they can charge what you want. And yeah, I refuse, it's very boggy here, I refuse to pay like 100 quid for one night in England anywhere, unless it was like, I don't know, it'd have to be an insanely fancy place for me to do that. And even then I just wouldn't do it, because I don't really like insanely fancy hotels. So yeah, that's why I've had to find cheaper alternatives that are further away from the wall. There is also camping spots if you wanted to do this with a huge backpack and camping kit. You can do that. There are camping sites along the way, which I imagine are quite cheap. Or you could just wild camp it, which I'm definitely not recommending, because it's technically illegal in England to wild camp. But it's one of them things. It's like, yes, it's technically illegal. If someone told you to move on, you'd have to move on. But no one really enforces it. No one really cares, as long as you're, you know, keeping your head down and not doing it somewhere super obvious and ridiculous. Like, you can wild camp. Oh, I actually think there is a little bit of wall coming up here. Maybe? Actually, no, I am incorrect. I think it's rubble. Yes, it's definitely farmer's rubble. There we go. Oh, so I'm just going down this way. Okay. Wow, this is just completely broken off. Oh, maybe the high winds did it last night or something, who knows. But I can still get through, luckily. And straight down here. So the path is really just going through farmers' fields now, and it's hard to even see the ditch, really. It's sort of disappeared now into the landscape, I guess, because all around here has been cultivated over since. Incoming rain looking cloud, but fingers crossed I get lucky, and it isn't. It's kind of slow going here though through these fields, because they're very muddy and a bit treacherous. I think this is going to be a long day to Carlisle, walking through a lot of this. But hey ho, it is part of the trip, and the wall would have gone through here somewhere. Ooh, absolute crazy winds just hit, and starting to rain a little bit. The sky's gone very dark, so looks like I'm in for maybe a soaking any time now. This here is perhaps Walton, where I'm heading to next. Beautiful church perched on top of the hill there, and a nice old looking bridge as well. Again, I'm just under a rain cloud at the moment, so but still very pretty. Should clear up after it's getting a bit more blue there. Northern England weather. It's like absolutely pissing it down, but it's also sunny at the same time. I don't mind it though when it's like this, when it's sort of constantly changing. It's kind of fun. Yeah, Walton, half a mile, so it's over this bridge. It must be a bit further up where that church is. Looks very pretty perched on the hill. This is a nice old bridge as well. Imagine crossing a stream. There we go. Gorgeous. It's a bit of Hadrian's Wall here where this mound is, but it was getting damaged by the weather, so they've reburied it, which is interesting. It's the first time I've seen that on the route. Just passing through Walton. Beautiful church here in this little village. I'll try to get a better shot of it. Go through here. And luckily I've got a dry spell. The clouds have cleared once again. St Mary's at Walton. It's very nice. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. It looks different than a lot of English churches. I'm no expert there, but I don't know if it looks old for one, but there's something French about it as well, which makes me think it's Norman, but I could be totally wrong there. I don't know, something about the tower, and you don't see them planks usually on the windows like that. Very pretty little church there. Still got all the history of it on the walls as well. I don't really have time to read it though, but I love stuff like that. So maybe one day, as I always say, do a dedicated video on this little place. Absolutely gorgeous. There's been a church there since like, I think, or at least Walton has been around since like the 1030 something, I think it said, I don't know, as a settlement, so probably a very old church as well. I really wish Stoke-on-Trent had bus stops like this where you could literally just seemingly just take a book. Thing is, I just don't have any space in my bag to carry anything like this, otherwise I would, but I'm pretty sure you must just be allowed to take. You're supposed to sort of just take and give. Yeah, I'm really envious of places that can just do that. Like, you know, the little villages are so small, everyone knows each other, that it's just, you know, no one's going around stealing stuff. It's the problem with living in a city, I guess. Just heading out of Walton now. Lovely little village, and the next one is a little village called Newtown, and that's where I'm heading to next, if the car doesn't kill me. And looks like we're just splitting off down here. I've had a brief look into my guide. I really can't see any sort of wall remains at the moment on there, so I think it is going to be very sparse now, but got a beautiful day, lovely countryside. I mean, it would have been amazing if I had this weather on day 3, because that was the one with the most scenic bit of wall, but hey ho. We've lost all semblance of Hadrian's Wall now. I don't know if there's any remnants of it after here, but even like the ditch, the Roman ditch, unless this is it, possibly. But it's becoming less and less easy to tell where it is. This possibly could be the Roman ditch. I think, you know, so we're probably still following the general path the wall to. And I'm gonna, if I'm hazarding a guess, the ditch I'm saying is there, which means the wall would have just been on top. Again, another rain cloud, looks like it's coming. It's probably going to be like this all day now. Hope showers, and then clear skies, and then more showers. Hopefully we just have more clear skies than actual showers. Currently sheltering in this wood by this bridge because a big shower has hit, so I'm going to hope maybe 5 minutes or so it'll pass. Just walked up the path a teeny bit more and look at that, there's a bit of a waterfall. A man-made one by the looks of it. It's sort of cut properly to control the stream, but that's very nice. And like expected, it's still spitting, but the blue skies are coming. So that's what I think it's going to be like today, just every so often just keep getting showered by a rain cloud. But it's not too bad because they pass pretty quick, although it does say between 4 and 5 PM It might be a bit rainy, which I'll definitely still be out by then. I've just had a look at the map to see how far I am through today, and it's pretty depressing. I'm barely any length through it. Walton was basically the first stop. But that's because I got very distracted by Lanercost and I had to come all the way from Brampton, which was like an extra 3 miles. I've just got to try speed through as much as I can. One thing you will notice if you do this Hadrian's Wall path, the whole thing, you'll come across quite a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans seem to be walking it, more than English I would say. A few Germans, and that's basically the only nationalities I've seen. Definitely local people. You hear a lot of the local Geordie type accent. They probably have all the local accents as well, but from an untrained ear they all just kind of sound like Newcastle, the typical sort of Geordie. So they're your main three really. You hear local people, Americans, a lot of Americans doing hiking up here, I guess, doing the Hadrian's Wall or doing a few days of it, and then the odd German. But any other sort of general English accent, just no no one else comes up here. Oh, in Scotland of course, you will hear Scots because we are fairly close to the border. Some typical glamping spots there. Doesn't look like any of them are being used at the moment. See for absolutely miles that side, and they've got glorious weather over there now. Meanwhile, I've got this coming, but again more blue after, so very patchy today. This part of the walk does have a hell of a lot of little sheds with snacks in and all that kind of stuff. They usually work on a honesty basis, you just pay them whatever, but there might be someone in there, I don't know. There was another one just before this town started as well, so there aren't any in like the middle sections where all the wall is, but sort of leading up to it this way anyway, closer to Carlisle, there's actually quite a few, so there's not really any chance of you going hungry or thirsty whilst doing this section of the walk, which is nice. Just finished going through the very pretty new town. Lots of rich, gorgeous houses around here with very expensive cars in the drives. And I've just had a sign. Ooh, what's this one say? Bleaton, 2 miles. I've just had a sign outside there that said Carlisle. I know it's for cars really, but Carlisle was 8.5 miles away, which actually doesn't sound that bad now. 8.5 miles, you know, that should be like less than 3 hours, which would get me in earlier than I thought. But we'll see. Maybe it's different for cars, it's quicker. Well, it's obviously quicker, but the route might be longer than 8.5 miles by walking. So we'll see, but that doesn't sound so bad at the moment. That's given me hope. Gorgeous blue skies now. The last bit of it before more cloud comes my way. I can see in the very distance a big church spire. Not sure if that's Carlisle. I mean, it is very far away, but I feel like that's still probably too close to be Carlisle. I think it'd be more built up, but then again, I've never been to Carlisle. I don't know how big of a city it is. I feel like it's a fairly small city, isn't it? I know it's got a cathedral, but I think it's relatively small for a city. So that might just be like a town or a little village. I feel like we're either walking on the wall now or in the ditch, but I feel like the ditch could be just over that side, so maybe this is literally where the wall was. But in terms of remains, absolutely none. No turrets, no mile castles. They would have been along here, but yeah, completely disappeared from the landscape now. This goes on for a hell of a long time. Heading next to a village or a town called Crosby. It's about 4 miles away from here, but it looks like it's pretty much in a straight line following the course of this ditch. But yes, quite uneventful now. Starts really well with the priory and everything, and some beautiful countryside. Yeah, lovely walk through some little villages and stuff like that. But we are winding down now to the end of the whole walk, and tomorrow I imagine there'll probably be barely literally anything again in terms of actual wall, but we will reach the coast, which is very nice to think of. We should get a nice different type of change of scenery, probably following rivers, the river down to the sea. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to a bit of a change of scenery, because it's going to be like this now for another, God knows, like 3 hours, 4 hours maybe. Field 694. It's a pretty good one. Well, it's just started raining on me. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, very windy up here, but I can see some of the stuff that was going on here. There used to be a quarry here where I imagine they got a lot of the stone. All over here. I think this would have been the vallum, I guess. There was a board just there, and it said some of these, they're not quite sure what some of these are, whether they were kind of like trenches or part of the quarry. Whew, got this big rain cloud right over my head, but got blue coming, so it shouldn't be too long. Going over some kind of main road here. Yeah, it shows that I'm getting closer to civilization. Look at this, so I've entered this village, Carlisle, 4 miles. That doesn't sound too bad at all. I definitely need a little 5-10 minute rest here though, by another lovely church. So in the past 15 minutes, had a little rest, and then started walking and immediately got caught in another cloud, rainy cloud. Oh, nice rainbow over there though. It's just passing now, it's probably just about stopping for me, but it absolutely drenched me, of course. I don't know what this is here. Fancy looking house building, immaculate lawn, look at that. Passed through that little village now, literally I think just about 4 miles to Carlisle. Excuse me. So final stretch now, but now it has really started to hurt the feet now. Oh, it's taken 5 days, but I'm going at a much slower pace now, so even 4 miles feels like a lot. But the rain has passed now, so I should get going slowly. Following this river now. Don't know how long for, maybe the whole way to Carlisle, we shall see. Probably about 3.5 miles, 3 miles if I'm lucky. And then bloody creepy aliens from Signs is gonna appear out here any minute. Right, now that I have crossed that main motorway, I'm pretty close to Carlisle now. Within the next half an hour I'll be right in the centre of the city. So I'm just going to end this part here, because there's going to be nothing to show anyway. There hasn't really been for the past couple hours. and I'm just going to be walking down roads and through streets. So I'll record some footage going into Carlisle, but yeah, I will end it here. So that is the end of day 5. One more day to go, final day tomorrow, which will be going from Carlisle to Bowness-on-Solway, which is practically on the coast. So hopefully that'll be a nice little change of scenery. I'm pretty sure there's like no wall content, but hey ho. Yeah, hope you've enjoyed this one. This one again, barely any wall, but it started really well with the Lanercost Priory. Amazing place. Absolutely have to just detour down just to have a look at it, even if you don't go in the whole thing. It's awesome. And the first stretch was quite nice, going up to that Walton village. That was a nice little area. But other than that, this is that awkward kind of middle-ish section, like the beginning middle, where you just kind of got to do the miles. There's really nothing, you're just walking through fields. Kind of like day 2, what is this now? Day 5. Day 5 is the same. Well, yes, regardless, hope you enjoyed this video, and join me in the next one. Like and subscribe as usual, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one, where we complete the Hadrian's Wall path. I think this could possibly be the ditch. Look at the ditch is back. No, it could be a random ditch. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.